welcome to I'm From the Internet, a podcast about the internet, its users, and their consequences. I'm deceased footballer John Madden, and I'm joined by football historian John Madden. John, what have you been up to in the last 604,800 seconds? Well, John Madden, I was... Hold up, I gotta take this call, it's important. John here. Yeah. Awesome, thanks. Good news, John, that was Edward Kill. He won't come on the show, but he did give us a quote. I have no idea who that is. Maybe the quote will help. Okay, I get it. Gaz.
Jay, how are you?
I guess in the minute since you've been apart, I was kind of thinking, like, when you were growing up, did you have any text-to-speech experiences? Because I feel like that is a technology that is very appealing to children. Like, I know I loved playing around with it when I first had a computer as a kid.
I don't think I did a lot of text-to-speech. What I did do was I would make really rudimentary, like, not prank phone calls, because I never liked pranking people, but really rudimentary, like, comedy, like, radio comedy drama things, with, the little Windows audio recorder thing, and it was so fun. Laugh until you're crying with your friends, just making, like a bizarre character and have him ordering at the drive-thru and muffling your voice with the little effects and stuff like that. It was so much fun. And I also, as a kid, would make comedy PowerPoints for like fake companies. I was like 8 or 9. I would be making like really funny PowerPoints for mom and my brother to watch. And I would just like go do like a little stand-up set for them, which is like, I guess I never really thought about that I was doing comedy, like that's more than just being like a funny kid. That's like sitting down and spending an evening thinking of jokes for like, it was like a PowerPoint ad for like an old folks home, and I was explaining all like the different weird old folks things, and like I like that's crazy to think about how involved I was in all that. And now look at me, too sad to be funny. Yeah.
Gosh, yeah. I guess when I was a kid, my first experience was I had this CD-ROM game called Storybook Weaver Deluxe, where it was like basically it was like a clip art type program where you could pick backgrounds and put elements in it and then right below it and make little stories. And a part of it was it had text-to-speech editor, so it would read your stories to you. And yeah, I was kind of like mashing the keys and making it was like an old lady voice, so I just like doing it to be like just trying to make sense of a bunch of random letters. Very fun to me.
Yeah.
And then I got to be on the other side of that, where when I was working as a substitute teacher, once I had a class where it was like a computer lab, and the kids had this thing they would do where they would use the Google text-to-speech to like I guess like say stuff or randomly say things. Because it always sounds the same. It was like you can't really tell what computer it's coming from. So I was like, good bit, but it was like...
Yeah, there was that, and I do remember, I mean, this is not necessarily in the same wheelhouse, but I do remember a SNES game that was like Mario Paint, but you could like play the pixel art images that you made as like musical tracks, I want to recall, because there was like a Hawaiian hula girl one and a bunch of other stuff that I just like, it didn't make any sense to me. But I remember like trying to make early music with that, and that was just like this baffling ordeal. But
I was so into Mario Paint. I got that before I had a computer, so that was like my first time using a mouse.
Yeah, I wonder what all of that was. I don't really remember. All of those all of those memories are so faded to me that it's just kind of like this. It's hard to tell if it was real life or a dream or what, but Yeah.
While you're looking it up, I had a phone notes. I remember I was like, when I was a kid, I played the Dennis the Menace game for Super Nintendo. I remember having this like really creepy boss, and I loaded up. I'm like, oh yeah, it's fucking creepy. They made like a realistic Walter Matthau head on this little pixel guy, and when he catches Dennis, he like menacingly grabs him and carries him off stage, and then you lose a life, and it's just like,
yeah,
Walter Matthau is Five Nights at Freddying me.
Yeah. Yeah. This is so weird. Yeah, I can't really remember any of that stuff. I was also thinking recently about how like there's this interesting people in games. Games are like unlike many other major art forms such as novels and movies, where like we know who Steven Spielberg. He's fucking ripped. Steven Spielberg. We know who he is. We know who Darren Aronofsky is. We know who all of the actors are, except for JGL because he doesn't exist. But with games, it's so rare to like have like, oh, you're a game dev personality. And I think about like Masayoshi, Hideo Kojima is who I was thinking of. Obviously, he's such a larger, not even, I wouldn't say larger than life, but like he's a person that is so brilliant that people wanted to know more, and now it's like a part of his life is people knowing more about him, right? And I think about Kane from Command and Conquer, Jeff Coogan, who was just like the head of Westwood, and they had him as a stand-in for some of these little cutscenes, but he was so fucking good that he ended up being like an actor that they brought back after he like left the game dev world because he was so good at it. And then you cut over to you know his name more than I will, but the game Max Payne, which was
the guy from Remedy who's the writer.
Yeah, the writer for this game series, and like Max Payne is like a neo-noir, Matrix-inspired dark detective story, and the graphics were really limited, but the face model for it was the writer making like a really squinty, like intense guy face, and it's like super compressed on his tiny little model. But like without that, the game would have been missing so much of its identity. And it's the Orson Welles quote that I'm going to butcher is that like the most important thing to art is its limitations. And so like they didn't have the ability to make all this other stuff, so they just like, oh, we're just going to use your picture and put it on the character model, right? And it really helped. And now for Alan Wake, that writer comes back as an actor, and he's good, like it's just so rare to have like a person in gaming that people know who they are, no matter how big your game is. Like, tell me the name of anyone who worked on Age of Empires, any of the games. I'm sure some listeners are screaming at the radio right now. They're they're listening to this in Silent Hill. Yeah. But like, you just don't get that, I'm going to be the exception.
Yeah, I remember Max Payne is Sam Lake. I think that's his name. Also, it's
Sam
pretty
Lake,
is Rockstar owns the IP for Max Payne now. So when they're trying to do like a shared universe thing in their most recent game. So when they do that, they just have him playing a completely different detective, but it's the same guy.
Yeah. That's interesting. I will need to play Control at some point in time to make sure I'm not stealing any ideas from it. But
I wish I liked that game more than I did. It's but it's very popular. So I'm an outlier on that.
Is it just like too shootery?
Yeah, it's very much a shooting gallery. It's like a shooting gallery, except one of your guns is that you chuck concrete at people. Like, and all the people are. It's very much like that. And also, like, a lot of it was just kind of like the same way I felt with Alan Wake, where I was like, if I'd never watched Twin Peaks or read Stephen King, I'd like this a lot more. It's like, yeah, if I didn't know what SCP was, I'd think this was really creative. But all I can see is just like, oh, I know what they're referencing and copying here.
Yeah, I totally get that. Like, I don't know, with like Half-Life 2 and the gravity gun, that was this like, it blew my mind, in high school, where like, oh, the whole world is full of objects and I can just pick them up and throw them at people. That's so cool. What an idea. But then like every other game did that. And now it's like, yep, your game's full of objects and I can throw them at people. Okay. It's like, it doesn't really do anything for me.
Arms race.
Yeah. I mean, that's why it's funny to look at the next, what is it? Gamora. What's the name of the game that the BioShock guy is making now?
Judas. Yeah.
Judas. Yeah. Which I can guarantee you that is the edgiest thing that's going to be in that game. That man is congenitally toothless. He's the opposite of Marcos. He has no teeth at all. And so you look at the game, but it's just BioShock. It's just one hand holding a gun, another hand has a magical power. It's like, dude, like this was boring in Skyrim, and that was when I was just out of college. Like Skyrim came out in 1974. Boring. Anyways.
I guess speaking of boring, we can talk a little bit about Moonbase Alpha, because it's out and it is very successful by its standard. It had over 100,000 downloads in less than 2 weeks when it came out. Like a lot of people played this. By comparison, recently the game High Guard, which was like made fun of for being, it had like less than that in its entire run. Like its peak user base was less than 100,000. So this weird free game from 16 years ago was more popular than that.
Yeah, and like all of those numbers are so much more meaningful because PC gaming has only increased since then, like by magnitudes. So that to have 100,000 is pretty fucking good. Obviously, they wouldn't have had that if it cost even $1. But
of course,
the being free contributed a lot to it. But like I don't know, like it is what it is. They got 100,000 downloads. That's great. I don't get 100,000 on anything. So that's not true. But
aside from race riots, yeah,
except for the race riots, buddy, believe me, did not intend to get that many people, but here we are.
Oh God, yeah, and also another stat I got from that is that the average play time was 1 hour and 5 minutes, and the time limit for each match is 25 minutes. So that's playing about 3 matches if you finish them before they're due. So people downloaded it, played a few rounds, and kind of moved on average. But and I think a part of it is it's not a bad game, that there's just not a lot of it or very much to do. It's like very slow and boring, and a lot of it, like I mentioned, just kind of plugging boxes and cables together. So people made their own fun. Like one of the early ones is, since it has physics and a lot of it is dragging these tubes around, they would play a jump rope with the tubes. Two people would grab it and swing it around, and the person in the middle would jump over it and try and see how many they could do before they hit it. It was
That's so good, dude. That's so funny. If you're into this kind of thing, YouTube channel Game Maker's Toolkit has some really interesting stuff about like the future of Zelda. And I'm not a Zelda guy at all, because Zelda again is congenitally toothless. It looks like fun, but I don't like fun. I like atmosphere and feeling bad. And so a game on the moon where there's no atmosphere. No. But no, it's an interesting thing for like the chief designer of the latest Zelda games. Initially really rejected the idea of an open world Zelda story because he was like, well, then how would you know like what to do? It just doesn't make any sense. Like Zelda is a game about going from place to place to place, and there might be a hub in between, like I think of Link's Awakening or the one that was on Game Boy, right? So there's like connected worlds, but it's really generally linear, where you're getting this power up, then this as you scale up towards the end situation of the game. Yes, you can go back through the game and play different parts of the world again, but it's very linear. And so then he played something. I think it was like Skyrim was really influential. And then that like really blew up his conception for how the game would be played. And now he says that all future Zelda games are going to take after this model, because like instead of giving the player, this is a puzzle that has one solution and your goal is to find the solution, right? It's a crossword puzzle that can only fit with all the letters in the right spot, right? His thing was like, we're going to give you these broad abstract tools and you figure it out. It's almost like Gmod, I struggle to find a reference that is more accessible to the non-gaming audience. But like, it really is just like, okay, we gave you the ability to pick up certain objects and to attach wheels on certain objects and attach wings on certain objects, and we gave like buoyancy and speed, and some things can be lit on fire and some things can generate a certain amount of thrust, and you can stick and glue things together. You tell me what you can do with that. You have a treasure chest that's at the tip top of a tree. You need to find a way to get yourself up there safely and to get down safely. What do you like? How do you do it? And that's an interesting type of thing where you have to think really abstractly, and it can be really fun and invigorating when you get it right. But there's only so many ways that you can have that puzzle. And also it means that like, if I can go anywhere at any time, you necessarily have to have a pretty bland game, because it's just like, okay, we've just got puzzles everywhere, a few monsters everywhere, a few treasures everywhere. Here's your game, you know? And so it can be fun to make your own fun. But I also really want the devs to do what the players are doing and then create a thing that incorporates that. You know what I mean?
Very much. Yeah, I think that's why it was worth mentioning that a lot of the people doing this are kids, because like, yeah, when you don't have a credit card, like any free game is like manna from heaven for you. So yeah, and then you don't have anything else to play. So you really just kind of try and milk your entertainment value out of it. And that's why they make their own fun instead of moving on to something else.
Please. It's not manna from heaven. It's stamina from the government. But yeah, I do love the jump rope thing, but like all the physics stuff is just really funny, because it is just playing with toys, but with your friends from far away, you know?
Very much, yeah. And it being on the moon, since it seems like moon physics, that does help with it. Or like another one people would do is they would do sweet jumps in their moon rover by using the craters like ramps. Like you couldn't get that much airtime, but you know, it's like we're gonna try and make this thing into a cool driving game.
There's got to be a word for airtime when there's no air, so it's just got to be like
vacuum time.
Vacuum time. That's the scariest time to be a dog.
It's a really boring version of bullet time. It's when you're taking forever to clean.
It's vacuuming really slowly, and like dust particles are like. Listener can't see that I'm doing the Matrix backbend, but yeah. Anyways,
it's like you're really bored, so you take some slow-mo from the Judge Dredd movie before you start cleaning, just to spice it up.
Jesus. Also, you want to see something really fucking scary? Watch this. You ready? I'm wearing khakis. I ran out of pants. These are my one pair of khakis.
Yeah, listener, Winslow just stood up on his chair and put his crotch right in front of the camera. So when he said, "Do you want to see something scary?" and then did that, I thought things were going a very different direction for a moment.
Yeah, believe me, there's nothing scary about my penis. It's the most peaceful thing you've ever seen.
Peaceful space penis.
That's such a funny idea of like hitting on a chick at a bar and being like, "Honey." My penis might not be scary. Big, but my penis is very zen.
Oh, God. The ending of the Twilight Zone movie, but instead it's just Dan Aykroyd sexually harassing him.
Yeah, just like my penis is very, it will align all of your chakras. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Anyway, so yeah, they would do they would make little games out of the very rudimentary sandbox that they were given. God, these textures are terrible.
Yeah, this is not a good-looking game, even at the time. Yeah, these are all little things, but the big thing that really kind of put this on the map and made it legendary is its use of a decade-old text-to-speech program called Deck Talk, because this was before Discord, and also, like, this is a game targeting children. You don't want to have voice chat built into it because that's, like, a safety issue. So instead it has text chat, and as an accessibility thing, there's a text-to-speech option, so you can type something in text and it will say it out loud. And the problem is that Deck Talk has been around for a long time, so it has all these features built into it, and they didn't think to disable them when they put it in the system. So there's all these hidden features built into the text-to-speech.
Okay, I didn't know this at all. What hidden features?
We're going to go over those. And also, it was what Stephen Hawking used as his speech synthesizer. So it's pretty iconic in that sense. Like, he intentionally stuck with it throughout his life because he's like, yeah, I like it. It's iconic, and I'm used to it. I don't need to get a more realistic one. And like by the end of his life, he's had a little Raspberry Pi running it instead of like a big old module like from the 80s.
Crazy. Yeah, I didn't know any of that. But yeah, I've toyed around with a lot of more, like you were asking when I was a kid, but I definitely messed around with some text-to-speech stuff for the next game that I'm doing, because I really like the synthetic voices. Specifically, I mean, like, I think I've mentioned this in the past, but there's a lot of text-to-speech synthetic voices in Antichrist Superstar that I think are really evocative of, like, receiving spoken words is, like, the most primeval human thing. If you are in a dark place and you hear a voice that's, like, unimpeachably human, and it's terrifying when it's not. If it's, like, something mimicking a human voice, that's scary. A bird mimicking a human voice, or, like, the way that hyenas can cackle is so... The reason that that's scary is because it sounds almost human. And when you use a synth text-to-speech thing, it is, like, this really queasy, uncanny valley in the audio world. That is, it's there's nothing like it, you know. All of this will make more sense when I have more to share. But yeah,
very much, yeah. And Deck Talk, like, it still has an active fandom. They have like a website, a community, an unofficial one, and there are web versions of it. And Moonbase Alpha has become so linked with Deck Talk that when you use the web versions, one of the presets is Moonbase Alpha. Yeah, you can do 11 kilohertz, 8 kilohertz, Moonbase Alpha. So this was a very much kind of a boon to this niche community in a way.
Yeah, and it's really modular, and you can do all sorts of weird stuff with it, and yeah, it's interesting.
Like one of the examples of its sort of peculiarities is if you type in like EST, it will actually pronounce it like it'll actually say Eastern Standard Time instead of just EST. So you could crash the game by typing in EST, PST, CST, MST, and then twice in a row, because it would cause a buffer overflow, because it would try and do the whole phrase for each one, and it would overload the character limit, and then just start making beeping noises, and then eventually the whole thing would just crash. Like,
yeah, it's like the AI collapse, like on certain Google searches, is so interesting and funny, where it'll just be like, you know, are carrots good for you? And it'll be like, carrots are relative 99999, and like, and like all of the text will scroll down for 10 trillion pages, because like it makes me think of, like, at some point in time my mom tried to print, when I was a really little kid, what must have been like a corrupt Word document, and the printer just like started printing out sheets of just like gibberish symbols, and it was just like a computer having a seizure. And I remember my mom just going like, "Oh, poor thing," like sympathizing with this machine that's like just like putting out just constant nonsense. It's interesting. But yeah, I know what you're referring to. All of that to say.
And another big one was that you could make the astronauts sing, because they left in the options to affect the pitch and tone of words. Like, as an example, here's them singing Party Rock Anthem. You put the little notation. The first number is how many thousandths of a second long the note is, and the second one is what tone it is. So, like, if you put PAA left bracket thing,
Less
200
than,
comma
yeah.
20. Yeah, close, and then a greater than, it'll be pa, like in that tune, like that long at that tune. And it supports like up to 37. I don't know music theory very much, but you could do a whole bunch of pitches with this. And you could basically use it almost like a primitive version of Hatsune Miku in a weird way.
Party rock is in the house tonight. Everybody just have a good time.
That's wild. Yeah. I did, you know, I had to do something like this with my text to speech stuff for the video I'm making, where I had to like put in pauses in certain spots and then manually edit things, and then take that text and clunk it down, or like duplicate it and triplicate it, and then make one really high and one really low, and then layer them and like slightly move their sounds a bit. And so it would say, there was a man in the dark. He had a machine. He pressed the button, and it shocked my body. And like, if you make that one sentence, it just goes, there was a man in the dark. He had a machine. He pressed a button. It shocked my body. So you have to like break it up. But when you layer it over, it actually makes this kind of like trilling echo, like very slight echo effect to it.
At the first episode, when I had the robot singing Megalovania from Undertale, that's how I did it. You can use those little things to make each do be a different tone and thing. So it's like do-do-do-do. Yeah.
Yeah. Do-do-do-do. I want to meet that dad. Yeah.
And also, one thing about Deck Talk is one of its original functions was an 80s like phone bank system, basically a way of automating phone calls and such. So it has a phone dialing thing. It'll play dial tones for you if you put in a phone number. There's this exchange here.
I'm gonna eat a pizza. Hi, can I order a pizza?
No.
Why?
'Cause you are John Madden.
Why did they go with John Madden?
We're going to go through some of the catchphrases, but I think that it just sounds like the way that they pronounce it, they have like a weird emphasis, like they're like John Madden.
John Madden.
It just sounds very funny. And then also just like, I guess like when you see anyone else doing it, you repeat them. And John Madden is very fun to have it say.
And also, I had a tweet a million years ago about John is a definition of a client of a sex worker, and Madden is a definition of to drive insane. So John Madden is just like named syphilis. He's just named. Yeah. But yeah, I a million years ago, when The Restless was originally going to be a PC game in the style of Neo Scavenger, I had like a table of potential cheats that I could do. And one of them is if you name your character John Madden, all of the text in the entire game would be replaced with John Madden, John Madden, John Madden, John Madden, John Madden forever, which would be really fun to just replace everything with that for all of it. But yeah.
Also, I'm realizing for our non-American listeners, John Madden was an American football commentator who was a huge deal in the 90s. Like the big football game series, like the football version of FIFA is named Madden. So he's all over this. And also football sounds funny when the text-to-speech says it too. So it'd be like John Madden football. Like the whole sentence together sounds great. Also, one more thing is that the NFL on the Fox NFL on Fox theme is short enough to fit into a single message in this. You could do that do message as well in there.
That's so good, dude. That's so fucking funny. This is going to be another like really fun audio episode, just like our episode about hockey scores is just I still think about that, just the stomping, grinding, baby crying sound. Yeah. I can't wait to look at the waveform of this episode.
Oh boy, yeah, just a wall.
Yeah.
And one more little quirk about it is that if you put multiple bits of punctuation in there, it will pronounce each one. So like if you put question mark, exclamation point, question, like it'll literally read it out loud as question mark, exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point. So all these together mean you can just create a cacophony of noises very easily.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things is after I dropped my phone in a bowl of piss, I got a new one, and one of my resolutions was to just get over my bullshit and just dictate all of my texts. And so that's how I talk constantly. I will almost in real life be like, hey, what's going on, man? Question mark. Because I'm constantly dictating text. And so that's why all my texts are just like, 5 paragraphs long.
And this is a fun one. I actually downloaded the game myself to confirm this. I couldn't play it because I've been running Linux for the past 3 months and it wouldn't run on that, but I did play it back in the day. But the reason why I did this is because the swear filter is stored locally on your computer. It's just a .ini file. So you can go into your files and find all the words that they censor. And also you could just edit it and take them off, or you can add your own. It's like one of the ways of getting around the exploit where the EST thing would crash the game is people would add all of them except EST because that's using actual words to their word filter, and then it wouldn't display the death message, basically.
That's crazy.
There's like a meta in this with the swear filter.
We've talked about this before, about how Technology Connections did that video discussing the little thing that you could plug into your TV and it would automatically censor even movies that you got from Blockbuster, right? Like you could put in a VHS and it would bleep it out. It's fucking somehow. I can't remember how he did it.
Bleep show.
Yeah. But then there's this other guy that I'm terribly sorry, I can't remember his name, but he did like a dissection of that product and like used some sort of, not machine learning, but like used some sort of algorithm bullshit. I don't know how computers work to like, you understand one piece of code, then you understand the next and the next and the next, and like a lot of it will come together. And he like decrypted a huge part of the original file to get the list of all of the banned words and why. And like they had all of this extra stuff built in, and like he didn't get the full thing, but one of the things that I think we mentioned in the past was that they had like a special like caveat in there for Dick Van Dyke, because the Dick Van Dyke show is huge, but like if you're censoring every mention of Dick, it has to know if you're talking about a PI or if you're talking about a dick. And it would also have to like know a few moments in the future is if you're going to be talking about Dick Van Dyke. And so it has all of this like workaround just to handle that.
They're good.
Yeah, I just like, it's stuff like that that my entire life I have been terribly interested in. The way that we put a grid on an amorphous blob, and like the way that like after Vietnam, the army started doing stuff like the men who stare at goats, or they started like doing like peace warrior stuff where they had men in like, you know, full army everything that were like, they were planning on doing like turning the army into like a hippie army and using flower power stuff to like turn themselves into a more effective political and military force. That's so interesting to me. Then you get into like psychic discoveries behind the Iron Curtain and Uri Geller and all of the weird psychonautical explorations that were done during the 80s with the psychic rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union. And like the most serious men that have ever lived are having to figure out the ins and outs of astral projection, right? It's fascinating. And part and parcel of that is serious companies having to sit down and think of all of the bad words and figure out how you could evade them. And like, we need to put together a list of all of the things that we find objectionable. But objectionable means what? It could be anything, you know? Like, then you have to have caveats for Dick Van Dyke. And in Dark Souls 1, if your character is named the Black Knight, it will censor out the N-I-G in the middle of night because you can't have N-I-G there. You know, like I just think that shit is just so interesting. That blank is so interesting, I guess.
Yeah, those edge cases that result whenever you try like a broad universal rule like that. It's so good.
Yeah. I just like all of my, you know, The Restless is a game about where the kind of queasy in between place between sacred and profane. What happens when a thing slowly becomes sacred? What happens when a sacred thing slowly becomes profane? What do you do with a temple after the god is dead? Is it still holy? Like a church burned down near me. Is the wood still consecrated? You know, like it's interesting, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to add to that, but I will say I did read through the entire word filter. 3 interesting entries I found was ball shaft, which I had never heard of ball shaft before.
Oh man. Well, my ball shaft is pretty extreme these days.
No, the ball shaft is that big cage they store all the balls in at Walmart.
Yeah, dude. Oh god, to be tossed into the ball shaft. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The other one was taint, which I thought was, I guess taint is just, I mean, that's just a word, even though it does have a thing. But the last one was, they didn't have masturbate, they had mastrubate. They misspelled masturbate, and there wasn't a correctly spelled version of it. That was the only one. So you can masturbate, but you can't mastrubate on the moon.
Yeah, well, it's related to like a strudel. It's the mastrudel. We're having fun.
Make sure to pull up, just to show you I'm not making that up. There it is, right between wank and spooge.
Wank, wang, masturbate, spooge, screw, and boob. Which it makes me think that I want to take this game back and have it have a Twitch stream by like a 1940s transatlantic guy who's like, well, you're acting like a complete boob, you know? Screw. You can't say screw. You're a scientist. They love screws.
Yeah, engineers on the moon. We're not going to be using anything to attach anything.
Yeah, that's bad. That's dude, wokeness has gone too far.
Very much. And also another example of them not doing a good job with the coding, the console commands can be edited with a text file. So you can get into like the programming side of it and do stuff like change people's names while they're playing or spawn vehicles or whatever. Like you could just you could turn everyone into John Madden if you want.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. It's just as simple as the console commands in the Fallout games where you could just be like set player invincible or like give item and then like the name of the item or whatever, and it would just spawn it in front of you. But like the console commands are straight up just like set name John Madden, and you can just change your name to John Madden. And of course they have like set player color where you can adjust the color using a hex code. Yeah, that's crazy. Spawn car just gives you a rope. Like they just left it all in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this was all there, but the thing that really sort of kicked it off and crystallized it as a meme was in July 17th of 2010, the viral YouTube video, quote, Moonbase Alpha provides a realistic simulation of life on a natural satellite by the YouTuber MottDef was uploaded. And if you've seen a Moonbase Alpha video, this was probably the one. It currently has 12 million views. And I went and I pulled up the catchphrases from it so we can do some fun readings.
Oh yeah, dude, I remember all of these.
God, yeah, like one of the first pieces of content I ever made where I'm reading the 9/11 thread from Something Awful. I literally used the same format as that with like the Super Mario Brothers 2 music and everything. That was a very iconic video.
Yeah. So to keep fresh in the mind, what you type into the chat box will be read with Stephen Hawking's actual voice because they're running the same computer, they're the same device, and it just has weird pronunciations. And so, like, even if you spell something wrong, it will just, like, figure it out by the phonemes. And one of the things that they would do is just say A-I-E-O-U. And so you just go, I-U. And it's just... That's burned into my memory, but let's trade these off.
Yeah. Actually, for this next one, let's both do it in unison. I feel like that's the game is have everyone do it once.
Perfect. And so that's another thing is that like everybody has the same voice, and so it really is just like a whole bunch of Stephen Hawkings on the moon rather than on Epstein Island talking to each other. So yeah, let's kick it off with John Madden.
John Madden.
Football! Exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point, question mark. And I do remember, holla, holla, get dollar.
Yeah, with the dollar side. You don't actually spell it out. And this one's good. Snake, snarky. Because it didn't know how to pronounce the name. No, spelled out, like stretched out like that.
Here comes another Chinese earthquake. Yeah.
And surprisingly, that's not racist. There actually was a Chinese earthquake in 2010 around this time. The 2010 Yushu earthquake. So I was very worried when I saw that at first. I breathed a sigh of relief.
Oh, God. Big American
TTs.
Big American TTs.
Yeah. And that's when, Mamma Mia, Papa Pia, baby got the diarrhea. Like it would stretch it out when you said it like that.
That's so fun.
That feels like a schoolyard chant. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It just keeps, my head keeps going back to, again, I realize that he's a deeply problematic and bad individual, but I, like, Antichrist Superstar and all of those albums are, like, a big part of my mind. But there's a hidden track. If you put Antichrist Superstar into a CD player, you know when it first starts up, it tells you how many songs are on it, and then you pick? There's 99 tracks on it. Because after the album, there's X number of blank tracks and then a hidden track at the far end of the album. And it's like weird sound effects with like highly distorted voices. And God, what does it say? It says, go ahead and build a better Messiah. We can dig another grave. Which is like, goes so hard. Very hard. It makes me think of there's a band my buddy was telling me about recently where their shirt is like a Grim Reaper standing over like a burning dumpster, and it just says on the back, optimism is a lack of information. Oh, God. Words are fun, man.
Very much. Yeah. Use them every day.
Yeah, big fan.
Yeah, and also I did want to shout out Mott Def, the person who did this. They also kicked off the MLG edits meme around this time with the Trade Simulator 12 MLG video. I like those a lot, where it was like doing like epic dubstep Major League Gaming remix videos of like very mundane games like Trade Simulator and such. So I like that. And the devs, to their credit, they did kind of lead into the fun that people were making. When they did an update, they released a Dark Side of the Moon map where it was like there's no light, it's a little different. And there were some space madness Easter eggs in it. Like one of them was there was this mystery ghost girl that would very rarely flash in and out of existence for just a moment. And I looked up multiple cases of this just to make sure this wasn't a creepypasta or an edit or something. But yeah, I think it's because one of their they've made like medical training games. It looks like a little girl in a hospital gown. So I almost wonder if maybe that's where they picked it from there. It's like, well, we have this, let's drop it in there and make sure it's creepy. But yeah, just all these. And yeah, like this would freak me out. Like when I was watching the video, one of these was in the middle of like one of those singing videos. Like, wait, was that a kid? And then I went back and like, yeah, there's a little ghost girl.
When did this update come out?
I couldn't find on the update list, but it's one of the maps that's available. It was like I think it was like a month or two after the game came out. I'm not sure though.
What about the original game?
The original game came out in July of 2010.
Oh, so I wonder if it's a reference to the haunted girl from Fear, because that was a big horror game where it's a girl in a little. I seem to recall.
See that.
Yeah,
a little. We have Alma at home type situation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. And so the thing is, so we've gone over this was conceived of as a proof of concept. It was very successful by the standards of free edutainment software. So why didn't we get a full game out of this is what you might be asking. And NASA tried. They just did a really shitty job of it.
Yeah, I bet.
As we will see, yeah. So instead of just having the same people do it again, they held open submissions for proposals for a more expanded version of it. These submissions were, quote, vetted through 3 rounds of review by a panel of 9 experts from NASA, the gaming industry, and academia. So, more cooks definitely should help. Yeah. And ironically, the winner was a Canadian developer named Project Whitecard. So we're actually outsourcing this to a different country.
Yep, that makes sense. And like, it's also just like you're trying to make a camel. You got too many people working on this one thing at the same time.
Very much. As the CEO of Project Whitecard put it, our small group of 20 developers have won a contest. This is how it goes to dry.
Great. Honey, we're eating good tonight.
Yeah, his name's Carl Sharif, the CEO. He's going to come up a couple of times. So, but per him, they wanted to make a profitable product because if it was funded by NASA, they'd have to give the game away for free. Whereas if they had a commercial license, then they could make money off of it. Mm-hmm. So they went with Kickstarter for this. And the entire reason that Moonbase Alpha was successful was because it was a free game. So you might imagine this didn't do super well. But we are building a 3D avatar community around a fictional depiction of the year 2035. In the game, players will be whisked away Harry Potter style to the Arthur C. Clarke Astronaut Academy Station trademark, a sort of, quote, Hogwarts in space. Players will literally hold the world in their hands on the iPhone, PC, and select consoles currently planned. We'll have access to complete and technical, quote, astronaut handbook at the virtual academy library, and revolutionarily, players will be able to visit and live through the future fanciful NASA missions in accurate virtual depictions of the Space Academy, Mars, the asteroid belt, and solar system, period. Man, that's a long sentence.
That's a hell of a sentence. There's so many problems with it. Why are you talking about Harry Potter? A sort of Hogwarts in space is really funny, but revolutionarily is okay. But
Moonbase
also,
Alpha is hard sci-fi. Get out of here with that soft bullshit.
You cannot have fanciful and accurate in the same sentence. What are you talking about? None of that. Like, oh my god, I'm frustrated.
This guy writes, like the way that he writes, it almost feels like a teenager. Like this is a middle-aged man who runs a business, but he has like very like boomer Facebook type diction when he types. And also like this is one of the pieces of concept art. This looks so low budget.
Yeah, that definitely looks like the Maggie Gyllenhaal that we have at home. It's definitely designed by someone who has got a certain degree of fetishization for the bottom half of a woman, but not much for the top half of a woman. Because the bottom half is all smooth lines, Betty, and it's not bad looking. The top half is just like, it looks like she's wearing a spacesuit made out of like space-age turban material. But yeah, and this is bad. That's all I'm gonna say. It's just bad.
Right, yeah, it's like they got the guy who made the Half-Life 2 cinematic mod to do this. She just has so many polygons on her suit's crotch.
Yeah, God, dude, that's an app.
Oh
Jesus
God,
Christ.
yeah, that would be a fun sampler episode. Just like weird mod people, like continuing from the Ardmore bonus we did a couple. Yeah, yeah, and they did make a little. The sizzle reel has very little sizzle in it. It's just like shots of people running around on a big open. Now it's on Mars, so it's like the ground is red instead of gray, and it has a bit of an atmosphere, but still basically the same thing. And it's being developed, but for iPad this time as well. So just.
Yeah, the revolutionary gaming console, the iPad.
God, yeah. And there's Kyle. That's something, too, is like he presents the whole video. Like they didn't have an announcer or something. It's just the CEO himself being like, hi, we have an exciting opportunity. Like, it's like he's talking to children and he's somebody who's not good at talking to children. Like that's kind of the tone of this presentation. I
don't want to make a broad sweeping judgment about an entire man based on a very small JPEG of his face, but he looks like a very Greek man that you like brought back to life after he died in like a mining accident in 1940, and you just are really surprised at how effeminate his voice is. Kind of like how the reports of Abraham Lincoln's voice being like high and squeaky really defy our own expectations of what the Gettysburg Address sounded like. But this guy just looks like he's going to go like, hi, we have robots in space. And it doesn't vibe.
Mario twins.
Yeah, we don't need all this other stuff.
Yeah. And then in the credits of the video, there's Daniel Laughlin, the NASA Learning Tech guy we quoted earlier talking about Moonbase Alpha. So yeah, this is a direct line from that first game, even though it's a different developer.
A fun part of this podcast is when you are scrolling through the document and I will just see the top half of an image and just go like, oh no.
Yeah.
Because it's update 23 on Kickstarter from Cal Sharif. And the update is just titled "Woot!" with an exclamation point, which was a thing that millennials said on the internet for way too long.
Yeah, that's the title, and the body is just, again, the word "woot," but it's all caps, and he does a little smiley face emoticon after it.
God, yeah. We deserve what we get.
God, yeah. But yeah, they made $46,719 on a $25,000 goal. I don't know why. This wasn't a very good pitch, but...
Wow, that means that my game earned $40,000 more than the NASA game. Woo! I'll take it.
In 2014, they released a, quote, single-player 20-minute mini-adventure for $2.99, and they promised that if you buy it, it will lock you into the beta for the full game. And also, they changed the name. Now it's called Starlight. In this version of it's called Starlight Astronaut Rescue. Again, they always put the NASA logo, Square Center, and this is what it looks like. It's basically like you're playing through the tutorial of a multiplayer game, where it's like, this is how you move items, this is how you interact with stuff. Like what they'd call a vertical slice in the game development world, where it's a demo that shows off everything the game does, but there isn't actually a game there.
Like,
looks like shit.
It looks like shit, yeah, sure, but like, the reason that Star Citizen, the longest game development ever, right? The reason that it's not out yet is because the thing that they're trying to make is so unbelievably vast that it's just like functionally impossible to make it like make sense, right? It's way too fucking big. But like game dev cycles are just not that big. And like if the people that made Rust could make Rust, how can you guys with NASA backing? I guess you only had $40,000 to make this game. Less than that because Kickstarter takes all their fees. But like, how did it take you this long to make this little? What happened?
I guess we'll sort of see a little bit about that. So a full game never did come out. If you look up Project White Card Studios, after this, they did a completely different space game called Star Rangers XE. Then in 2017, they released a VR title and also a casual game called Crawl Space: The Mansion. And none of these games have reviewed over 60%. Most of them are 40 or under percent. So these games did not sell or review very well.
Crawl Space: The Mansion is just like it's just so funny to have like a negative grabbiness to your title. Like Star Rangers, if you're into space and stuff, you could probably be like, ooh, sounds fun. Count me in. The way that like if your game has the word dead in it, like you legally have to have zombies. But Crawl Space: The Mansion is just like, none of those are interesting words. Literally not a single word of that. Crawl, space, the, and mansion. None of those are interesting words.
Yeah, like conceivably you could make a good horror game about crawl spaces. Like my dad worked in pest control. You ever have to crawl into one of those things where there's like a raccoon or something? Like it is pretty scary and intense. I could see that. But yeah, the crawl space, the mansion is very
rough.
So 8 years after the Kickstarter concluded, he puts an update. Subject, a heartfelt thank you to our backers and an update in our journey ahead. In which he goes, Dear esteemed backers, we extend our deepest gratitude for your unwavering support and belief in our project. Your commitment has allowed us to accomplish so much, far beyond the scope of our original $50,000 budget. With your help, the project's resources expanded impressively to approximately $750,000, which had transformative impact on the quality and reach of our endeavor. So yeah, they got outside funding as well, and they still didn't finish this. So he's like, it might look like I wasted $50,000, but I actually wasted $800,000.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah. God, and he continues, however, it's crucial to communicate transparently. Despite our joint efforts and the expanded budget, we've encountered challenges that make future updates to the project unlikely. These difficulties range from internal disagreements to constraints in funding that inhibit our ability to elevate the project to the grand vision we all share for it. So basically the game's not coming out. Thanks for the money.
Yep. 2 hearts, 16 comments, 8 years late. Oh yeah, boy.
8 years of radio silence.
Making me look really good. Let me tell you that.
God, yeah. And I did look up Project White Card. It's very funny. Right on the thing, if you go to their site, like their vision statement uses a stock photo from freepick.es. So
wow.
When you're a graphic, essentially someone who does graphic design, you can't even do a picture of yourself. Like, come on, what are we doing here?
Yeah, it's just an Asian guy looking out at like a model of the galaxy, but it also kind of looks like he's being slowly lowered into a frappuccino. And
he's trying to zoom in on a picture in the Minority Report universe. He's just going.
He's trying to look on the like what a marshmallow looks like on a cellular level is what he's trying to do. Yeah. God. But yeah, that's funny when like, oh God, you're right. It's just like not a real image on a fucking website for your like. How do you fuck that up? Like, that's your whole thing, man.
Yeah, it looks like their one big thing that they've gotten to work on is they did like a drunk driving simulation for Manitoba Public Insurance, where like that's like the real, but they're still, even though it's been like 8 years at this point, and they didn't actually make it, they are still listing the NASA connection with Starlight in their portfolio. Except the one thing they did actually complete was Starlight digital badges developed in conjunction with NASA. So like proto NFTs.
Thanks. It's like, again, like NASA, I hate to say it, like NASA, space is cool, moon's cool. Good job, guys. But they have so utterly and completely sold out their branding that it's just like completely meaningless. You know, I have more faith in a Warhammer game than I have in NASA, and there's fucking 5,000 Warhammer games of all different capacities, you know, and all different qualities. And like the NASA branding doesn't mean anything. I can buy a NASA shirt at Walmart.
Yeah, I bought a lot of astronaut ice cream when I was a kid. It's not that difficult.
Yeah, exactly. Wasn't even made from real astronauts. Yeah.
Yeah, and so nicely enough, in March of this year, they announced their current gaming project, Beyonders. It was listed as coming soon on Steam. Doesn't have a release date, but third time's the charm. Still, like seeing the third time trying to do this, it still looks awful. Dude,
wow. Like it's rare for me to say this, but I'm like genuinely surprised at like a company's refusal to grow. And like there's some parts about game design and art in general. There's a lot of stuff in art in general that is just like, it's subjective, right? Like, okay, Mech Warrior is a game where like, you are first person as the human being piloting an enormous combat mech, which is like a walking, you know, like Robo Godzilla kind of fighting machine, right? And what makes that game unique and interesting is that you aren't over the shoulder piloting the mech. I mean, maybe you are in some of the games, but the ones that I'm referring to, you are viewing it from the first person of what it would be like to be the dude in the machine. And so you have little screens and stuff, and you look around and you can see like the pressure gauge on this fuel and like this thing over, like you have to look at the actual dashboard of that game, right? That lends itself in information access that is like interesting, and like that is what makes that game good, right? And then you have a game like Dead Space or the new Silent Hill or a lot of the Silent Hills where there is no information on the screen whatsoever. If you want to know how many bullets are in your gun, you have to just count. You have to like keep track of them in your head so that you don't end up having to reload in the middle of a fight, right? So I'm looking at this screenshot and it's like the textures are terrible. It looks like shit. It looks like a phone game. And there's so much shit on your screen. Like it looks like it was designed for large, like a iPad tablet type of situation. And there's just like so much visual clutter. Oh, they didn't earn any of this.
Oh God, yeah.
You know, like we've all seen the crazy pictures of World of Warcraft where there's like 50 trillion things going on, but you don't dive into the game like that. You slowly build up that level of information. And like, I'm just looking at this and it's not even that there's this shit on here that I do it symbolically, you know, like there's just too much shit going on, man. There's just so much information that you could sum up with just a little graph.
Yeah, it looks like shit. And I have the description from the Steam page here. It says, Beyonders follows a 5-person co-op elite space crew, including one dog, sent across the solar system to investigate anomalies, recover lost assets, and survive extreme environments. Using the scientific method and cooperative engineering, players complete missions. Quote, could it be aliens? Never. And here's the title, the concept art of it, which is very generic. But yeah, now that they don't have NASA breathing down their necks, they can get a little silly with it. They can have a hecking doggo in a spacesuit there. Just
I don't like any of this.
Catch up. Yeah, looks like legally Rick Moranis' likeness is one of them, the nerd.
Yeah. And it's like, there's this, I mean, the art's cool. I'm not like bashing the person that did the
kind of like Christian bookstore Mass Effect. That's what the art looks like.
Yeah, dude, Christian bookstore Mass Effect is exactly what this is. That's funny, man. Yeah, and it's just like, you know, it's all the astronauts in different spacesuits and they're just like looking real cool and badass and they're all doing different things and there's notably not a lot of weapons going on. There's not really any weapons. So they're just like doing science stuff, which like, again, you can do that and like have a game where like the environment is the enemy. And like, you know, the Long Dark, yes, there's like wolves and stuff, but like there's no human enemies, there's no zombies, there's no anything like that. And that's what made that game so cool. And there's ways to do it, but like, I don't know. It just, I have very little faith in this developer to actually get it done.
Yeah, me neither. Although they have a little help this time. They have, according to the AI content disclosure on Steam, AI is used to assist with generating pre-rendered text, voiceover lines, and code in some sections of the game. So they've struck out 2 times, but maybe AI is just what they need to get over the home plate.
Yeah, and this isn't out yet?
No, they just announced this in March. It doesn't have a release date. Also, I checked the forum. 3 posts, 1 reply, and the reply is the developer replying to themselves. So, good luck.
Oh, man. Oh, if I had a heart, it would be breaking. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
And believe it or not, there's another one, though, because the original developers of Moonbase Alpha, Virtual Heroes, they tried to kickstart an actual Moonbase Alpha 2 in 2015. They couldn't get NASA funding for it, so this time they tried to appeal to the private sector. And this is so douchey, I'm going to read it here. It goes, we salute the bravery of those first astronauts and the tireless determination of the early rocket scientists and engineers who leapt into the great unknown with little more than a belief that man belonged amongst the stars. And we salute the visionaries behind the inspiring new industries now taking on the ultimate challenge of multiplanetary colonization. Their first steps of space transport are already underway. Read the incredible stories of Virgin Galactic and SpaceX.
Yep.
So basically going Daddy Elon sponsor us.
Please. And yeah, it's tell me more about these early rocket scientists. Were there any particularly interesting early rocket scientists that helped with the space project? There's one that's elusive. I can't quite remember.
I think Tom Lehrer did a song about him.
Yeah. Oh God, poisoning pigeons in the park. What a good guy. Yeah, friend of the pod, Tom Lehrer. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, how much do you think this raised on Kickstarter?
13,000. Oh no! I thought I was going too low.
$4,510 from 87 backers. I don't know, $480,000 goal. They made less than 1%.
Oh, brutal! $48,000, $480,000.
Yeah,
goal.
they wanted $500,000 to make this thing, and they got less than like the down payment on a used car.
They have $4,510 of a goal of $480,000. Brutal. That's crazy. Like it's okay. We've gone over Kickstarter failures a few times now, but like it's when you see something that's like this catastrophic of a failure, it's usually somebody who has no idea how money works and thinks that they can just show up at the money store and just like shake the tree. And like get the money and like money solves everything. I'll just hire people to make the game. I have a great idea for a game. But it doesn't work like that, obviously. And so it's bizarre when you see like a company where every single person at the company has connections with other companies and friends and family and all of these different things. And like, do you have Moonbase Alpha as like this cultural touchstone that like is huge? And like, you don't like, it's the levels of failure that need to occur in order for this thing to not work is just fucking stupendous. It's crazy. Wow. That's a lot.
They did not promote this at all. It's like they just announced it on the Steam page as an update and then expected the money to just come rolling in.
It does not work like that. You need to be so annoying, you know? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but that's where this story ends. Yeah, the original developers had no luck and the follow-up guys are flailing, but they're still out there. So just... yeah, I guess we can do our closing thoughts and everything, but just, man, that was a fun moment. And yeah, you can't really recapture that moment. It was just lightning in a bottle.
Yeah. And it was fun because the people that were playing it were fun. It wasn't that the game itself was fun. It's that they found a way to make it fun, you know?
Yeah. That's kind of my bias against multiplayer games. It's like everything is fun when you do it with other people. I need a little bit more assurance than that to maybe get invested in it.
To me, it's as if the United States Postal Service saw the huge world of using USPS priority labels as like street art, which you see everywhere. And they think, oh, people love the USPS post office labels. And they're like, no, they like them because they're free and you can do fun stuff with them. It has nothing to, if there were McDonald's just for some reason had free blank paper stickers, those would be everywhere, right?
They don't care about the little rose. They just want the glass tube. Why?
Right. You know, like it's just crazy to me that they're just fucking everywhere. And yeah, they just completely misunderstood what was going on. And they should have leaned into it more.
Yeah, their one thing was they would be like, oh, yeah, it's going to have the text-to-speech. Don't worry, guys. That was like their one thing, kind of acknowledging that, yeah, we're going to put deck talk in it. We know you guys like that.
Yeah, they should have just made a completely different game with deck talk and then leaned into like the manipulatability of it all.
Yeah. Like you could do like little deck talk sketches every day to help promote your Kickstarter. Like it's not hard at all. It's fun.
Yeah. And like have your Kickstarter video in Deck Talk and have a human being looking at you and talking to you, but replace their voice with Deck Talk. That would be so funny.
Hello, I am the voice actor for Moonbase Alpha. I am very happy to be returning to Moonbase Alpha 2.
That's funny, dude.
Exactly.
That's a great. I didn't even think like
pretend it's actually a guy who just sounds like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Deck. You know. Yeah.
This is my brother. He does all the ragdoll animation.
Yeah. That's a dynamic duo right there, man. That's funny.
I'm the song, he's the dance.
Yeah, I'm the song, he's the dance. Oh, that's funny, dude.
Thank you, yeah.
Hey, here's a question that just occurred to me. Mario and Luigi are brothers. Is Wario that's not their brother too, right?
He's not related to them. I think he's just like he just is unrelated. Yeah, it's a Japanese pun that doesn't translate. Wa is like basically means bad. So Wario is like it's bad Mario kind of in Japanese.
Yeah.
And they're like Waluigi and Waluigi.
Yeah. Okay. So they just have different parents. You never meet Mario's parents, do you?
In the end of Yoshi's Island, you kind of see like their feet, like a little bit. You see like an outline of them because the whole thing is the Yoshi delivering the baby Mario back home. So They do have parents, but also they're delivered by a stork. It's like nobody fucks in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because if you Google it, there people are fucking, but they don't know what's going on. Geez, wow. Yeah, that was fun, man. Good times. Well, we have some recs at the end of the episode. As for us...
Well, before we do that, I did have one closing thought about this I thought was kind of interesting is like now survival crafting games have been codified as a genre and it's really popular. So it was kind of neat to go back to this and see like before we really knew what we were doing, like a couple of weeks ago, I recommended the game Astroneer and it's basically Moonbase Alpha if it was actually fun. It's the same basic concept. It's a multiplayer game, but yeah, no interface. It's all represented in the game. There's actual gameplay. There's multiple planets. It's fun. That's the one thing that was really kind of missing. Is it's just now people know how to do this better, and if you want to actually have like a space survival game, there's tons of them to pick from now. There's Planet Crafter where you're like terraforming a planet. People like these type of games now. It's a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's there's like plenty to do, and you can actually like still just find ways to have fun, even in like an imperfect game, because like all the games that I like aren't perfect. You know what I mean? Well, we have Rex at the end, but as for us, we do have a Patreon, $1 a month, and you can get access to all of the extra stuff that we make, and we appreciate that. All of the money goes to Jay and Steve, and if you want to support me, you can find me at winslowdomain.com, winslowdomain on Twitter, and calculations on Instagram. Please check out my game and join my Discord if you want to playtest the new game. I need playtesters, and I'll be doing a lot more of that once my life opens up after the show seasons are, done, all that. We have a lot going on here. And also, give us a rating, please, for the love of God. It helps, and we really appreciate all of the 5-star reviews that we've gotten, and we just really appreciate it. So that's where you can find us, iftipod@gmail.com and iftipod on Twitter. And you can find Jay where?
You can find me on Blue Sky, and also my link tree is in the show notes.
Awesome. Jay, what kind of rec do you have for us?
Oh boy, I have a good... This is one of my favorite games I've played in a very long time. It's called Abiotic Factor. Have you ever heard of it?
I don't know. I think I might be thinking of a band called Abiotic.
Yeah, because it's very explicitly riffing on Half-Life. Like, abiotic factor is a scientific term like Half-Life. Like, in ecology, the abiotic factor are the non-living parts of an ecosystem, like pH and such. Like, and it's riffing on Half-Life. You're in basically Black Mesa. It's called the Gate Facility, and you're playing as one of the scientists trying to survive the portal storm and escape. And it also has a little bit of SCP Foundation thrown in it. But the thing is, it's a survival crafting game. It's not like you're running around shooting stuff. It's like you're trying to like scavenge materials. Like your armor at the beginning is made out of like magazines and like cafeteria trays. And you're like, it's like, if you ever see that one graphic of like the people at the office revolting and forming a primitive society, it's kind of like a game version of that, where you're trying to build a primitive hunting equipment out of office supplies and lab equipment. It's very creative and silly and weird. And and also the SCP parts are interesting, like, because it's funny too. Like, one of the SCP equivalents you find is like a yellow paint that can't be contained and has a tendency of showing up when people are confused or uncertain of their destination, like lampshading the yellow paint in video games. It's cute.
Yeah, it definitely looks like what if the Tyranids showed up at work in Warhammer. Yeah, that looks like fun. And I was on Twitter not too long ago suggesting that I just think that I just want to see the power level dropped in everything. And I really like the idea of like creating armor out of whatever the fuck I have sitting around, I think that is so much more interesting than like showing up in full battle plate. It's just like whatever you have is just so cool.
Like one of your early crossbow, you make the bolts out of Sharpies. It's like Sharpies with little bits of metal on the end. But you make a fishing pole so you could fish. You use like a telephone handset as the reel. It's very very
that's
cute.
Cool, man. It's like, that's why I like the games where for whatever reason you're really small, and like so the whole world is like your weapon is a pin, or like you are running around on like a bridge made out of like a film from an old film projector or something like that. Like it's the reimagining of the entire world. It's John Bunyan. using a 100-foot long cobra as a belt around his pants, like it's all of these like reimaginings of the world I just think are terribly interesting.
It is, yeah. And it's not a horror game per se, but it does have some like scary bits in it. But it has like a neat progression where like when you first encounter stuff, it's mysterious, it's scary, and then eventually you get used to it. And then by the end, like it has a gimmick where portal worlds respawn so every couple of days. So the only place you can get renewable resources. So eventually you're just so used. Like the first time you go to Flat Hill, which is like a mix between like it's basically riffing on The Mist, which was one of the inspirations for Half-Life. It's really scary and intense, and there's these giant like lumbering monsters that can kill you in one hit. And then eventually I'm just like speed running through it, doing around them. I don't even have to look where they are. I know where they are. Just hoovering up all the nachos at the arcade, just.
Yeah, I might actually load this one up because it does look cool as hell.
Yeah, and the monster designs are pretty neat too. Like there's sort of like a nemesis type monster that stalks you named Layak and one named Krasyu, and they're both named after like Indonesian and Filipino mythology.
Yep.
Like a floating head with organs hanging under it. They're really funny. Also, it's only $35. This is like an independent game developed in New Zealand, and it has like the graphics are stylized, so it's modern, but it's trying to kind of look like Half-Life 1. People are a little polygonal. It runs pretty nicely, and yeah, and they're still doing free quarterly updates, even though the game completed last year. So like they just added pets and the ability to do chemistry for bonuses. So yeah.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Shit. The only game that I've been playing lately is I reinstalled. I don't want to call this a wreck because if you're listening to this podcast, you've already played the living fuck out of it. But I reinstalled Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, and I've been playing a little bit of OpenRCT 2 explicitly because YouTuber Marcel Voss does these hyper detailed deep dives into how those games work and like all of the little weird ways that the game figures out like when a little pukes after riding an intense roller coaster. At what point in time do they puke? They process it every time they pass into a new tile. Whether or not they puke is based on this number, like all the way down. It's just really interesting. What's funny about it is that like the game is really, really, really easy. Like there's no part of it that has been difficult. I'm not cheating at all, but like you can just breeze through every part of the game. I've not found anything that's remotely challenging in it at all. It is almost exclusively just like a sandbox for roller coasters. But
yeah, when I was a teenager, the hardest part was actually finishing the campaigns because number one doesn't have any speed control, so you just had to let the game run for like a day straight to finish some of them because they were so long. Yeah,
that's crazy that they didn't have speed controls. But I think that the other kind of weak part of it is that like I like the roller coaster, like I like building the park and managing things, but like ostensibly the two most important parts of the game, making roller coasters and making your park look cool, are like the least interesting parts because there's for decorations there's just not that many options, and they're all really, really, really limited in terms of like how cool they can possibly look. Like there's 3 different colors of terrain, and so if you want to have a spot where it's dirt, it's just going to be squares of dirt that have sharp lines between your squares of grass, There's no dithering between the tiles. And then if you want to design a roller coaster, it's always just like kind of a baffling ordeal of whether or not you're doing it right.
Yeah, you think you're nailing it, and then you're like, oh, darn, I'm one off from reconnecting at the end. Back. And like, it makes me think of, I used to play Sim Coaster or Sim Theme Park, I think, was this bizarre theme park managing game where like your roller coaster, like I don't like the degree of like fidelity is completely off. Like as far as Roller Coaster Tycoon is accurate, at least it's like the rides go faster when there's people in them because of the weight. And Sim Theme Park is just like complete total fantasy. But for that one, you would just like, you could like kind of click and drag and twist around and connect one end of the track to the other. And then you would have like this looping, crazy, fantastical ride. And they would just like, well, whatever, the ride works no matter what. And in Roller Coaster Tycoon, it's like, well, you didn't have enough speed to get up this hill. And so now your cart is stuck there, and if another cart hits it, they all explode and everyone dies. So that part isn't terribly fun. Maybe I just need to work on it. I don't know, but that's just what I've been doing. It's like not a wreck, not an anti-wreck, but it's a fun thing to do if you got the time. like a little fish tank. You can have it running while you're doing stuff.
Yeah, very much so. Well, that was awesome, man. Thanks for doing this, and I can't wait to hear all of the sound effects again when we drop this episode. So give us a like and subscribe, and we'll be back next week with even more. Wum 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 wum.
I'm from the Internet is created by jaybrandstetter and Winslow Domain. Edited by Steve Brown. Music by Steve is Broke.
Also, side note, I should have told you this off the air, but our episode about steroids is going to be used as a reference point in a future video game that I'm working on with a team that's like, it's their idea, but I'm using our episode on steroids as like a guiding point for a lot of the stuff that's going to be put into the game. So,
oh, fuck yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I might put a little credit to us at the end of it. So, yeah.
Aw, that's awesome. I could help, yeah.
Yeah, that way I'm in the credits twice.